Live at Lunch on Demand is presented by Supreme Rice since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Live at Lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at Lunch. Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Handegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From walk-ons in Bruley, welcome to the Monday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Handegriff, Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio on our Monday schedule, which includes the Brian Kelly press conference midway through the show. About 11:40, we'll send it out to Gordy Rush and Chris Blair, and then at noon, Brian Kelly will address the media, and then we'll come back to finish up the show until 1 o'clock. Hope you had a great weekend. There was more than enough football to say grace over. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You enjoyed the football weekend? Man,
of course.
That was whew.
It's it's fun, man. You know, everybody's excited. To full. You know, we're in a college market here. We know that. That's what gets our juices going a little bit, the blood flowing a little bit better. But that NFL fun, it's formatted, and we get on the NFL for a lot of things. But man, it's pretty good yesterday.
It was really good.
You know, and we had sort of the first round of March Madness. Didn't know where these lopsided matchups where they were going to fall, but there were a few. And then some. It's hard to give too much credit to a team just routing such inferior rosters like Oregon and Oklahoma State. And I'm sorry, but that's Oklahoma State is a mid-MAC program right now. I mean, I'm sorry, the roster.
Roster.
Well, okay, maybe that's roster. I mean, but they're a way better bully than Penn State right now. Yeah, Penn State going to the playoff is they don't look good, man.
They got one more week of preseason, then it gets real for them. They get another layup this week, and then Oregon's going to town.
And good for the Penn State fans staying home. I've never seen that stadium, so have that. It's not empty because the lower bowl is full, but like the uppers.
Yeah.
And I mean, big gaps of seats just completely empty. We're tired. No, Nevada and FIU back to back. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
We're
going to sit this one out.
Yeah, Villanova's coming in for basketball this week. Kidding, they're coming in for football.
It's Villanova this week?
It's Villanova,
and
yeah.
I hope there's a few more empty seats. They'll be wide out on NBC for prime time for Oregon, but
we'll see how they come out. LSU wins their home opener 23-7 against Louisiana Tech. It was another exceptional defensive performance for LSU, holding Louisiana Tech to just a little over 150 yards and one late score. It was a very uneven, choppy, inconsistent, at times lethargic offensive performance for LSU in the game, which was what most of the post-game was about, and what Brian Kelly led off the post-game talking about, which was he blasted himself and his coaching staff more than he did the players. LSU's rushing attack right now is At very best, it is an unorthodox rushing attack that is more dependent on what I would call a non-traditional run game than it is, or more success with the non-traditional run game with guys like Xavier Thomas than it is with the traditional running game, which struggled in the game on Saturday. LSU had 128 yards of rushing, but 106 of those came on 3 carries, and one of those was from Xavier Thomas, and another one was from Barry and Brown. Whether that's sustainable, which I don't think it is. I'm all for creativity, but they've got to get the traditional run game going a little bit. So there were some things in the game. The rush game was obviously a source of concern for Kelly in the post game, whether that's on Joe Sloan or Brad Davis for the offensive line. We'll hear more from him today. Louisiana Tech did a good job of making sure LSU had to work for everything they got. Start with good special teams with 4 punts that ended up inside the 20-yard line. That meant that LSU had the ball for a lot of time where they had to chew up a lot of field. Touchdown drive was 98 yards in 11 plays. They had a 13-play field goal drive. They had a 9-play drive where they had to punt, an 11-play drive where they kicked a field goal, and another 7-play drive that started their 9-yard line. So they had the ball a lot, but they were rarely in advantageous field position. Garrett Nussmeier was off, like a pitcher struggling with his command. His early underthrow for Barry and Brown kind of set the stage for a lot of the rest of the day because Brown would have scored easily had Nussmeier put a little air under the ball, which wasn't even all that deep a throw, as Rohan pointed out yesterday on Football Sunday. But it was more than just that. He was inaccurate at times. Louisiana Tech, like Clemson before that, was going to play deep enough that it was going to be very difficult to throw the ball over their heads. And so they struggled a little bit, again, with his accuracy in the intermediate zone throws he usually makes. LSU missed some scoring opportunities. An 8-play drive resulted in a missed field goal. 1st and 10 at the Louisiana Tech 15 resulted in a field goal. 1st and goal at the 3 resulted in a field goal. And, the defense was terrific to give the one scoring drive. And finally, the what I would call I guess the emotional part or the off the field part of this. LSU spent 9 months talking about winning the first game, and the first game was against Clemson, and it was on the road, and it was against a top 5 team. And look, they answered the call. They won the game, and in a difficult place to play. We're going to get to Clemson a little bit later. But when you do that, there's a natural letdown, even with it being the home opener, and the focus could have been better on Saturday. All that said, they won the game by 16 points. They move on to Florida, who's got problems of their own. And, Jimmy, if they pick back up and beat Florida and look good doing it, we'll be able to put this one in the rearview mirror pretty quick. But 2 big injuries, one to Braylon Moore that's going to keep him out. They're saying questionable for this week, but a high ankle sprain. I'm going to say multiple games. And the same thing with Trey'Dez Green, who sustained a knee injury. The good news is that neither one of them is out for the year, which when you saw them happen, you're like, uh-oh. But neither one of them's out for the year. We'll see how long they are on the bench.
Well, it looks like MCL sprain for Trey'Dez.
We'll get more from Kelly today, but, yeah, that's –
And it happened on a block when he's blocking?
Yes.
Is he ever going to block?
Fourth quarter.
Is he ever going to block again? He's trying to. He's a basketball player.
Yeah.
He was. He's got so basketball players don't really like a whole lot of contact that play basketball because they don't want to play football. A lot of them. All right, but some of these tight end type of guys or just big body guys, whether Antonio Gates with his basketball history and some others as well, Jimmy Graham. He's kind of got he's in that same area code as far as his build with his hands, which are exceptional. But he's dealing with leverage issues because of his build to begin with, and he's just never been a physical player. And I'm being kind by just saying that. I wonder about that. But MCL sprain, maybe 2 to 4 weeks. Maybe he can rush it back. I doubt it, but sometimes. But usually when that happens, they do the flexibility test, see if that ACL is intact. They thought it was. The MRI could confirm that. And I don't have the official diagnosis, but 9 times out of 10, let's say the MCL sprain is the chalk. Okay. But so he will be out maybe 2 to 4 weeks, maybe a couple weeks, whatever.
My best guess is South Carolina.
It's not just a letdown game; it's a sandwich spot.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on both sides. So you 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Beat that. Can we just win the first game of the year? It's we're underdog. We're on the road against a top 5 team. The whole deal. Okay, and then you can't have a revenge game next week with Florida coming to town. They didn't know that Florida was going to lose to South Florida, okay? And maybe, and that's why I don't think it's going to be an issue getting a team up for a team that lost to South Florida because they beat you last year, and that was a big loss. I'm fine with experimentation during this matchup, with this week. So if you're going to try the gadget running game to try and offset some of Durham's carry, they also, Harlan Berry got more looks as well. So you work on your weaknesses.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Durham in this matchup. Durham 13 carries. That's obviously going to go up in your typical game. He'll carry the ball more against Florida. But let's see if something else sticks a little bit. And lukewarm, maybe minus Berry. So Berry, you could maybe get 5, 6, 8 carries a game. Fine with that. He's still a true freshman, still working in, but,
ramping him up a little bit.
Or do you trust him enough at this stage in pass protection if he has to do that so it's not dictate, you don't have a tendency while he's in the game?
That might be harder right now.
Okay.
That might be harder right now.
So, I'm just throwing it all out there. But now this is, with all that being said, in a letdown sandwich spot, they struggled a little bit more than even I anticipated.
Yeah,
and part of it is that LSU's opponents see Darian Brown and
Chris Hilton.
And they know those guys. They've seen Hilton on film. They now see Brown on film. They know he ran 5 kickoffs back. You can't do that without exceptional speed. They're going to make Nussmeier be patient. They're going to force him to be patient. And now this is 2 consecutive game plans for 2 different level of opponents. But that's the one consistent thing going against LSU's offense. And we know that Nussmeier can push the ball vertically. And even that, when he did have one, he missed. So it was, yes, I'm not going to go completely crazy, but yes, still a little bit weaker performance than I anticipated.
And it's important to remember that it's on one half of the ball. I don't know that LSU's defense could be expected to play any better than they have through 8 quarters.
150 yards, no matter who you're playing. Yeah,
right. One drive at the end, one busted coverage was a big chunk of that drive. And then this is coming off a performance where they gave up 1 touchdown drive to Clemson. The field goal was set up by the turnover. So that has been really, really good. And I expect that to continue. I thought the special teams were a little bit better in this game than they were in the first game, although, again, Louisiana Tech's punter had a terrific night pinning them deep. So the defense has been very, very good. And I expect that the quarterback will have better nights. I don't expect that he will be as wild, for lack of a better term, as he was the other night. The things that they have to work on are the things that they talked about all during camp. How's the offensive line? How are you going to get that rushing attack going? I don't think Kelly was over the moon with what he saw the other night, judging from his post-game reaction. So we'll see what he says today with a couple of days to watch the film and get straight.
But I think what's important, do we, Clemson struggles. Does it dampen, our enthusiasm?
Absolutely. For now, yes, it does.
Or was it, they were completely down the first half and they flipped it around. The second half was a completely different game. And they were down 16-0 at the end of the third quarter, 16-3. At the end of the third quarter, they had the lead.
Yeah.
So
it has me on alert. There will be no game outside of LSU's this weekend that I'm more interested in than Clemson at Georgia Tech, which is an early game on Saturday, to see how they respond. Was it just that hangover from the LSU game in the first half against Troy? But the yardstick was even. So it was not flukish. Troy was in that game and had a very good chance going in the second half to pull a big upset and give Clemson credit for winning the game. But yes, it has my radar up a little bit.
Yeah, over here at Walk-Ons, man, it was happening over here. The NFL Sunday Ticket to catch all the games, man. It was a lot of fun, a lot of close games, a lot of unders yesterday, and so. Hey, man, the home of football is right here at Walk-On, so we know that we get an extra juice, extra people coming in to watch the games, enjoy the great food, always consistent service over here. And we've got game day shareables that are new menu items over here at Walk-Ons and Bruley. Starting lineup sampler, so it's a combination of mozzarella logs, boneless wings, and cheeseburger sliders, classic chicken nachos, homemade tortilla chips loaded with cheese, grilled chicken queso, pickled jalapenos, diced tomatoes, sour cream, and spicy ranch, the buffalo chicken nachos, crisp house-made tortilla chips loaded with cheese, grilled chicken, crunchy bacon, queso, red onions, bell peppers, ranch, and buffalo sauce, and our queso and chips. And the kickoff cocktails, a player's punch, a walk-on's whiskey sour, and a strawberry mule. So all really good stuff, refreshing, and how about a little nip in the air, huh? That little cool air coming through over here on a Monday here at Walk-Ons in Bruley.
Live at Walk-Ons in Bruley, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Bruley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show is always available on demand, 1045ESPN.com and at LouisianaSports.net. Our on-demand coverage is brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. For more information, go to SupremeRice.com. New Handycast with our film study will drop tomorrow night. We'll take a look at LSU's game against Louisiana Tech. Opening game for Kellen Moore as head coach of the Saints. Cardinals win it in the Superdome yesterday, 20-13. Cardinals had a 17-10 halftime lead, but the Saints were very competitive in this game. They ended up with more total yards than the Cardinals. They ended up with more first downs than the Cardinals. They ended up having a decent rushing game yesterday, and Spencer Rattler avoided any big mistakes. He didn't throw an interception. He was only sacked one time. The Saints were hamstrung by 13 penalties, most of which were on the offensive side of the ball, and a lot of them pre-snap. That put them in some holes, and, Kyler Murray made enough plays for Arizona to win it. Still, the Saints had an opportunity late in the ball game with a throw to the end, multiple throws to the end zone, although the one that everybody is going to remember is the one that Juwan Johnson got two hands on, but he got popped by Budda Baker, and the ball came out, and the Saints were incomplete on 4th down and 10. That one really wasn't a competitive throw, but the one on 3rd down certainly was. The Saints had an opportunity there to, you're 5 yards away from either sending the game to overtime. 18 yards away. It was 5 yards on the previous drive. 18 yards away from sending the game to overtime or even having a chance to win it. Kellen Moore in his first game, clock management issues at the end of the first half. You go down, and this is something that Sean Payton, who had his own coaching gaffes yesterday, would never have let happen. The Cardinals are playing first down and first and goal at the New Orleans 8-yard line with a little over a minute 55 to go. And they end up running 2 plays that take over a minute off of the minute and probably 15, 20 seconds off the clock before they score the touchdown. The Saints had all 3 timeouts, went to the half with them in their pocket. An opportunity there to get the ball back and maybe see if you can get some points before the half went by the wayside. Kellen Moore's explanation on the way to the locker room didn't make anybody feel any better when he said, we were trying to conserve our timeouts. It's like, okay, but by the time you got the ball back, there was 28 seconds to go in the half. You're going to have a hard time using them there. So, surprising for a guy who spent that's the kind of thing that I would expect from Dennis Allen, a guy that has spent his whole life on the defensive side of the ball, blowing clock management with the offense. I was surprised that a former quarterback and a guy who spent his entire life on the offensive side of the ball would make that kind of mistake. But he did in his first game as a head coach. Saints were way more competitive than I might have thought. They were down 2 offensive linemen yesterday. Trevor Penning didn't play. Talisi Fuaga ended up leaving the game, and they didn't have Chase Young yesterday either. So not that Arizona is, expected to be world beaters this season, but they're not a bad team either. So the Saints dropped the opener by a touchdown.
About 500 team, Cardinals, I think?
Ish, 7-10 maybe.
Oh, okay,
8-9.
Even worse. Okay,
that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe 500. I wouldn't be shocked if they went 9-8. If they won 10 games, that would be surprising to me. 500-ish, maybe a little under.
Is that where we are? Back when we come full circle when I was a kid. Moral victory. We can be competitive because that was it. No, when I was growing up, it was it was close, and satisfied with that.
Satisfied? No, but
Well, I mean,
if you're asking me for an honest evaluation of the game, okay, we've talked enough big picture. We know
this
that
is the first game of the week. Like I talked with Rohan, I talked with Randy McKay during the week. It says this is the first week, so the rosters are as healthy as they're going to be all year, and that lends itself to more competitive games, to closer games. We had a lot of close games.
Yeah, it was a great day.
A lot of close games, but it's not a drop. That's for damn sure. I think it's even a less than 50% chance that he catches it. It's tough in traffic. Extended, it was kind of his favorite receiver. As far as Rattler is concerned, not a complete disaster, but not good by any stretch. The only thing you could say is a quarterback rating, Charlie. We watched every game yesterday, and Rattler had a better quarterback rating than 5 starters yesterday. So there's 30 starting quarterbacks to this point, 2 more tonight. And in my opinion, well, I'll ask you first because I want to get – these were the 5 that he had a better passer rating. Did he perform better than these guys?
I know one of them.
Who?
That's below him, Tua.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, he was better than Tua yesterday.
Okay. Cam Ward?
He was. Cam Ward had some drops, man. Calvin Ridley dropped some very catchable balls. That's supposed to be his best
That's a good point.
receiver.
He did.
Ward put some balls on the money.
But you're in field goal range, and he's running backwards, so take him out with it. That gives him the lead in the fourth quarter.
That was a disastrous series. I think he was a little bit better than Cam Ward, but
everything considering, Cam Ward's first start ever, drops. Yeah, but Bo Nix.
Bo Nix was terrible yesterday. Absolutely terrible. We watched that whole game.
Bryce Young
was terrible yesterday. Watched that whole game.
Russell Wilson
was terrible yesterday to the point where they're thinking about starting Jackson Dart this week.
We're on the same page. I think he was a little bit better than all those guys. Cam Ward, a little situational there, But yeah, so 27.
Yeah,
and that's that's kind of what you're going to get. That's hard. It's hard to win.
Yeah.
When you're in the last 6 quarterbacks, and I think with everything involved with their running game and this and that, and also the way I thought Bo Nix had the worst day of any quarterback, even though they won. I thought he had the worst quarterback, the worst day of anybody. He took the ball out of his hands, and then he gives it back in his hands on the 4th down. Was that bizarre?
We're talking about degrees of disaster here. I would go with Tua a little bit worse, but it's close, okay? They were both awful yesterday. Tua threw the ball right to a defensive lineman. Okay? The Dolphins looked terrible yesterday, but Bo Nix was awful yesterday. So
does Bo Nix have a better running game in defense than Tua? Daniel Jones looked like Johnny Unitas yesterday.
We're talking about
Nix. I thought Nix was just awful yesterday.
He was,
and Tua was too. We're talking about degrees, right? You want to put him 31 and 31A, whatever. That's fine.
Those two were bottom of the barrel yesterday.
So, did you see him hang the guy out to dry though on the little swing pass back to the whole 15-yard line?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
There was, and the fact that Sean Payton put him in a position to throw the ball.
I'm talking about Rattler when he got the guy killed.
Okay, yeah. What do I expect out of Rattler? I gotta this Saints season. I think for me, unless I'm really surprised, is going to be a lot like Johnny Jones's last basketball season with LSU. We didn't after a couple of games. I don't want to talk about big picture. We know about big picture. I'm just going to talk about the game because we know about big picture with the Saints.
Saints. I mean, this is one of those 4 games out the first 6 that they have a chance at winning.
Yeah, and they had a chance.
If he holds on to the ball, which he could have, does he go for 2?
I would have.
What the hell do you have to lose?
I would have. I thought Arizona was the slightly better team yesterday, and so I'm going to take my one shot.
What do you think the fans wanted to do?
They would have. If you're trying to win points with the fans, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I would have gone for it. But this is not a team this is not a roster that's going to contend.
No.
We know that. So
especially if you
man,
got to play in your pocket. I mean, he's an offensive guy. You got to play in your pocket that you
always
are pretty
say
sure
that, but I mean, if he doesn't,
Well, if
I
you
mean,
got something
he
that you
needs to
think
quit
is gonna
now.
work. Yeah,
if he
you-
doesn't have a 2-point conversion idea coming into the game, an offensive mind in his pocket, so to speak, well, he needs to quit now. Of course he does,
Well,
Charlie.
Buffalo had 3 of them last night.
2, right?
They went for it 3 times.
No,
They
I
made
think
it.
2.
Well, the one
they did kicked. Remember when it was
I
when they were down 15 the first time they score, they go for 2. They're down 15 the second time they kicked it. So I think it was 2.
Maybe you're right. The one where he went out of bounds and came back in and caught it.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the one that was they ran the fade.
Right.
Okay. A lot happened in that game, so I may keep getting a little bit caught up. But yeah, I would have gone for 2 if I'd have been.
So I mean, so if
in that situation.
he holds on the ball, you convert. I mean, it's they had a chance. They went for it 3 times. Okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
Okay. So. What can I say? It wasn't an abject disaster yesterday in the Superdome. It was a team that's got some flaws, a lot of flaws, and I feel like them like I did before. Arizona was a 6.5-point favorite. They won by 7. That's kind of what was supposed to happen.
Yep. So, what's in San Francisco? They got a chance to beat San Francisco. San Francisco, I mean, was I thought a very shaky throw, just kind of throwing it, just kind of almost like, okay, I'm going to close my eyes, and a great play on the ball by his tight end to bail him out for the play of the game.
The backup tight end because Kittle was out.
The play of the game.
Yeah.
Kittle got knocked out during the game. Don't forget over here at our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title for all of you real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie, and Bradford Smith, our great team at Legacy Title. Buying, building, refinancing, nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds, the Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Walk-Ons in Brewley, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Brewley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Troy Macker joins us right now from Bet. Okay. So we getting Troy on in just a second. Don't forget, we're brought to you by our good friends over at Charlie Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime. 343-1111 and OCBrown.com. When car pulled in front of me, totaled my car, airbags deploy. What am I going to do? I mean, oh, gosh, I got to call a doctor and try and get an appointment there. I got to call the insurance company. They're calling me, file the claim. All of that, yes. And then Dana handles all that. Got me in the doctor real quick. Got me in a back specialist really quick. And then dealt with the insurance company the entire time as well. It softens the blow, takes as much pain. It's not exactly pain-free. We know that. It's a pain in the backside. But, it's trying to make it as pain-free as possible for you when you get into these horrible situations. You get in an accident, call my friend Dana Brown, downtown Dana Brown, 343-1111 at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Troy, how you doing today, buddy?
Oh, man, I'm a bit tired. Yesterday took a lot out of me. First game of the season for the team I support, so had a bit of a party at a friend's house, and still getting my legs underneath me. Didn't really play in preseason, so I'm struggling a bit today.
A little Commanders watch party, maybe, huh?
Yeah. I'm a eternal pessimist, even though they look to be good. But I like to put in work in week 1 because after that, I tend to just want to watch it myself and complain at the TV with no one in earshot.
Well, you got a shot because you don't have to pay your franchise quarterback just yet. Yep. And so we've seen that before, and they have added some pieces. And was how bad were the Giants' offense and how improved is the Washington defense, because they added some pieces. We saw Debo, some flashes, with Debo Samuel. Saw Daniels miss a downfield throw to Scary Terry. That was a little unusual. He usually doesn't miss those, but he's not going to hit all of them. But no, this is the window. Charlie, you feel the same way with the Commanders?
Yeah, and
the structure of the league, that's the way it goes.
Not only that, but the guy that caught my attention, and this was in the preseason too, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the rookie out of Arizona, who was the whole reason that they traded Brian Robinson to San Francisco. He averaged 8 yards a carry yesterday. I mean, if they had a rushing attack, these young, fresh legs here, Troy, to complement Jaden Daniels, that offense is going to be very, very difficult to deal with.
And Troy, the divisional games usually have very competitive, especially in week one.
Right.
This one wasn't. This one was not.
Right. Yeah. No, that was my nerves right there. Both games against the Giants were very competitive last year. They won a game without scoring any touchdowns. They kicked 7 field goals. But yeah, no, it was impressive. Certainly some things to work on. You get a little nervous there, being only up 8 with entering the fourth quarter, because all the Giants they do is score 1 touchdown and convert a 2-point conversion. It's a tie game. Kind of, there's a moment where it was felt like, oh gosh, this is how the Bears game went last year, and you can't rely on a Hail Mary. But the fourth quarter was very impressive from a defensive standpoint. The public was on entering the game was on the Giants having to cover 6. I think it was 6. It ended at 6. Entering Sunday, I think it was the 3rd most wagered on play. Commanders tickets outright was the second strongest play by tickets at 85.4%, and it was the most popular play by total tickets of all of Sunday. That's including the Ravens-Bills game, which was just madness. And you figure we saw a lot of in-play bets there, but people were backing the Commanders to win, which hit, but the Giants to cover, which did not hit.
Yeah. Did you see a lot of in-play talking about last night? We were all on Baltimore last night, and when you start to see, if you knew at the end game, and we tried to preach, but there's never been a bad beat that you couldn't hedge out of or middle out, and there were plenty of opportunities. The Bills were roughly plus 260 when they got the ball down 8, when they failed the 2-point conversion. They're about to kick off with 2.5 to go. You got the 3 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. The Bills, so Baltimore has to get a first down. They were plus 560. Were the live bets mostly? I don't know if you have that, Troy. I'm kind of hitting you off, off the hip here, but we're most on Buffalo at a price.
Oh yeah, I mean okay. we took a $250 wager at Buffalo at 30-1. Which must have been way late. I mean, even without the
that had to comeback. That had to be Charlie before the fumble, huh?
Yeah. But it's very unique that the book is rooting for the Bills. We took a lot of money on Baltimore pregame. It was pretty strong percentage too in terms of strength. And so you don't see that. Usually we're looking for Buffalo to lose because they're usually, heavily backed. But then when you tack on some of the live bets towards the end, it didn't help us out as much because, like I said, we took 34s, 30s, 12.5, 15. But at the same time, this is what Baltimore does, man. I'm in the Maryland area. I'm very familiar with them. But I've said this on this show multiple times going back 3 years that the Ravens just like to play with their food too much late in the game. They're super explosive, but, I saw stats today that, the Ravens have blown 17 fourth-quarter comebacks with double digits. And it's, the most ever for a long head coach tenure like John Harbaugh since, 1992 or something. They just, They had that loss at the playoffs that was gut-wrenching, and it's what do you do? How do you retool? You have all the players. You just got to be clean in the fourth quarter, and they're not. And so, if I had a little bit of hindsight, which is dangerous in betting, but, I would, if the Ravens are up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, I'd put a nibble on the other side just because This is something we see last year. They did it they blew, 14-point lead against a bad Raiders team last year. Now, the Bills are really good, and you have them at home, Ravens were on the road, but the Ravens are, I would look to bet against them money line late in games just because you're going to get a good price on them.
4th and 2. And you don't put it in your hands of your
that was the one thing Harbaugh did.
If you got trust in him, I mean,
I can't blame him for Derrick Henry fumbling. That's one of the best backs to ever do
well,
in the NFL.
He's got to do better. I mean, come on, if anybody, Derrick, I mean, we go.
No, I can't put that on Harbaugh for putting the ball.
No, of course not.
So he fumbled, but
you do anything else and turn it over. Why didn't you give it to Henry?
Yeah. But the 4th and 2, I'm going for. I mean,
it's an offensive game.
Yeah, look how the game is going. This is
not. It
ain't 13-12. That's what I'm not giving the ball back to Josh Allen if I can help it. I mean, they're gonna have to stop me 4 times.
Yes, yeah. I agree. Yeah. So, they I didn't get on it at 35-1. I didn't have confidence in, but when boom, all of a sudden they're up 15 with the ball when he fumbles. Is that right? So, I mean, and that game was over. Josh Allen making a little comment in a post-game interview. Oh, some of them you left. I mean, he showed his Novak Djokovic sensitivity with the fans a little bit there.
It was 42-30.
A little bit of a Miami Heat
40-32 when he dropped.
In Orchard Park.
What's that?
I said a bit of a Miami Heat crowd up there in Orchard Park, which is not something you'd expect.
Man, that's a late game on the East Coast. There were a lot of other fan bases at that time with that situation that would have been more emptied out than that. There was still a ton of people in there. So anyway, Troy, so we got tonight's game with the Vikings and the
Bears.
And the Bears, road divisional favorite here. Couple got by some close games yesterday. Tampa managed to come from behind and beat Atlanta, who hits, misses the field goal. And then also Seattle had the lead against San Francisco, and they gave it up late. So similar situation with the visiting Bears, a divisional favorite here at Chicago.
Yeah. And, right now we got 68% of the money on the Bears money line, put 51% of the tickets on the Vikings spread, 76% of the money and 58% of the tickets on the Bears. And then 61% of the money and 68% of the tickets on over. It's currently 43.5. I've said it a billion times. I'm a unders better. I really was debating going under across the board yesterday. Just a very small wager, but I like Week 1 playing in the NFL the same side across every Sunday game because I think you're going to get a lopsided play from whether it's under in every game or dogs to cover in every game. I've seen that over the last 3 or 4 years that it's usually not an 8-8 split on Sunday. So you could take a big loss, but you could also take a big win. And unders, I'm not sure about the Vikings yet because I haven't seen J.J. McCarthy, and I'd like to see a little bit more from the Bears before I start really hammering them in overs because of what I saw last year. But some interesting trends. The Vikings have lost 5 of their last 6 road openers, and the home team has covered the spread in 5 of the Vikings' last 6 games. And 7 of the Bears' last 8 home openers have gone under. So that indicates a very close, potentially Bears win, and covering the spread. So maybe a 2-point win, but it stays under. Should be an interesting game. We're going to learn a lot about these two teams because they are remarkably different than last year when the Vikings, had an incredible season with the quarterback they didn't want, and the Bears have the quarterback they want but needed offensive coordination, and they finally got it.
Hey, Troy, it's college football. Now, I put out a moneyline parlay, which usually includes all favorites, and it did hit this week. It seemed like minus Florida and South Florida that maybe we didn't see these monumental upsets. Did you guys have some winning tickets for these college moneyline parlays this week?
Yeah, we did. This was one where there were some more teams, especially down the ladder at the FBS level that, were heavy favorites. Like I think Eastern Michigan versus Long Island. But in terms of the teams we discussed, the only other big loss was SMU versus Baylor. That was a wacky game.
K-State Army. Yeah.
Yeah. And people were hammering K-State even though they struggled in overseas, but because Army lost to Tarleton State, albeit double overtime, people were not impressed by Army. But, SMU money line, that was the fourth most popular play. But, the interesting thing is, I was hesitant to take a lot of teams week one, the heavy spread favorites. And I should have jumped back on some of those teams, and especially overs. I was strong on unders in week one. Week two, I should have gone back because you're figuring the good teams, they're getting better, and the bad teams, they're getting better too, but not at the same clip as the good teams. They needed that week one to get some rust off. So, we took a lot of losses, the book did, because Alabama covered 35.5. Oregon covered 28.5. USC covered 28.5. Arkansas covered 23.5. Texas, I think, was one of the only, strong public losses, 82%. They did not cover, was it 36.5? So, it was a good week for college football bettors to get back on the wagon.
And that's not just at Bet Rivers. That is universal. It is unbelievable. The most of the betting public bets those 4-5 touchdown favorites like there's no point spread. It's unbelievable. But maybe the last time to get his a favorable power rating against Oklahoma State, it might be really, really bad this year. Troy, thank you, brother. We'll talk to you on Friday previewing where all the action is. Good stuff, man. Very interesting. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you Friday.
Thanks, guys.
Live at lunch, live at Walk-Ons in Bruley, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Bruley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We're also brought to you by Total Maintenance, AC and heating, generators, electricity, and plumbing, your one-stop sales shop for all of these needs. Since 1980, their slogan has been, nobody goes to sleep hot. So let that service today, every day, get you going with Total Maintenance. They are an authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Daikin, and Rheem AC units, Generac and Cummins generators for all your electrical and plumbing needs as well. In Baton Rouge, 480-1000 in New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance. We're here at Walk-Ons in Bruley. We'll accommodate the Brian Kelly press conference as we do on Monday about 11:40. We'll send it to the network, and Brian Kelly speaks at noon today. He's fired up after the game at his coaching staff more than anything. It's we appreciate candor. From the coaches.
He's transparent as what coach has been so transparent that's come through here? He is at the top of the list, Charlie.
He really is.
And it's just why are coaches so paranoid with it? Because they're making more money than they ever have, and how can I sustain it? We're talking about the SEC coaches, the ones, and this is his last stop.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not going anywhere after this one. So this is his last stop, and
like a tenured professor.
He's not worried about job security. His money's guaranteed unless he does something really dumb, And so he is almost to a fault. I'm not crazy about we're gonna play 8 linemen. I know he played 7, but it's still. But he's a good soundbite. So much of the coach speak is just get in, get out. Oh, we respect them. Oh, they're great. Oh, don't forget about South Florida. We get all that, and it's been all. But he's interesting to listen to.
I'm curious to see what his demeanor is today, because after that game he even said, he goes, look, man, if I didn't think we were good, I'd just get up here and spin it. I mean, that's exactly what he said. So we'll see what he's got to say today.
And to maybe, you expect a letdown sandwich spot after a big win, but maybe not this ugly.
Hour number 2 straight ahead at Walk-Ons in Bruley, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Bruley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Here, Walk-Ons in Bruley, great place to watch the games on the weekend for Monday Night Football. And if you're a beer guy or a beer gal, come over here. Over 4 dozen beers on tap, including their seasonal brews that they rotate in and out, along with all your traditional favorites here at Walk-Ons in Bruley.
And we're not far away too from opening these garage style doors.
Next time we come,
be open. A little bit this morning, man. This is nice today. Very nice today. I'm sure the LSU fans would have traded today's weather for Saturday's, huh?
A little bit warmer out there.
Max said he was like blown away. He had to put some ankle weights on just so he didn't get blown away.
Max, he's at those tents with the misters and everything. It's just,
yes.
first class.
Yes,
first class all the way.
Yes.
Over the week, LSU's next opponent is the Florida Gators, who lost to South Florida 18-16. I got to believe that this is the beginning of the end for Billy Napier if it wasn't before. South Florida won the game. They outgained Florida in the game. Florida had 11 penalties for 103 yards in the game. It wasn't flukish with a bunch of turnovers and things like that. Florida did snap the ball over the punter's head for a safety, but mostly South Florida played them straight up and won the game at the end. This, in addition to the next 4 games for Florida, all against ranked teams, 3 of them on the road, starting with this one here in Baton Rouge on Saturday. And it's tough to see Napier surviving this thing. One other note about Napier before we talk about the game. The one question was, would Napier's future be tied to that of the athletic director, Scott Strickland, who, with the exception of Napier, has been uber successful there since he got there in 2016. This kind of flew under the radar last week, but Strickland signed a 5-year contract extension that will keep him under contract through October of 2030 at over $2 million a year. And they gave him the same golden parachute that they gave Jeremy Foley, which means that 5 years after he's not the athletic director, he gets to stay on the payroll, gets to keep all of his benefits, gets to keep using the university airplane, and gets to keep making $100,000 a year basically to play golf. So if there was any question about would Strickland be tied to Napier and feel some loyalty to him, because let's be honest, Jimmy, when you're an athletic director at a school like Florida or LSU or Georgia or Texas A&M or certainly Alabama, you hire one bad football coach, a lot of times you don't get to hire the next one. And even with Strickland's record, he hired Todd Golden. They won the national basketball championship last year. They've had multiple national titles in the Olympic sports over there. By all accounts, they've opened up a brand new practice facility over there, an $85 million football facility, a $65 million baseball stadium. He raises money, but everything revolves around football. So if there was any question about whether he would be tied to Napier, he is not.
Well, Napier, an unfair card. If he was dealt Tennessee's schedule or Missouri's schedule or Texas' schedule in his 2-year Band-Aid, he might have a better shot. Yeah. Because you talk about, he can't survive because of 14. Well, he's not in charge of the schedule, but he is in charge of disciplining his team. You mentioned 11 penalties for 103 yards, but if you fail to mention one that's going to get a lot of run and is getting a lot of run,
and should,
and that is when South Florida takes the ball over, down 1 with 2:22 to go at their own 11. So they may need a little help on this to get down there and set up a short field goal. And so when you get the unsportsmanlike conduct for spitting on a Florida player, that gives them the 15 yards and kind of just
gets the drive going.
And you lose a player because he's ejected. And then a standalone NFL game just before. Do you not take that chance to extra teaching moment? This can't help.
Sure.
Do you not? So maybe they're not related, but then again, that kind of makes it a little bit worse that you just had an easy teaching, a layup teaching opportunity to make sure your players don't do it. So, but 11 penalties, but that one, and that's tough. Lagway, do we think he's a dual threat?
Absolutely.
Okay. 9 yards rushing.
Yeah, that's tough.
6 carries, 9 yards rushing. So Florida, Florida and Army were Florida and Kent State were the two home favorites, double digit that lost. And Avery Johnson, he's a dual threat, of course. They ran him 3 times for 14 yards. So that's fine. You want to, if you're trying to develop for the next level, you're passing, which a lot of quarterbacks could use. But you also kind of got to win where you are at the college level. And that's not a winning recipe for either of those quarterbacks to not have that not pose that rushing threat, because you elect not to do it.
And I got to wonder, we talked about this with Rohan on Football Sunday yesterday. DJ Lagway basically did not have an off season. We talk about what you can do in the off season to get better. How much time can you work out? He missed all of spring practice. He missed most of the summer workouts. He missed the beginning of fall camp. And it's not just one injury. He had a hamstring. He had a sports hernia surgery. He had a shoulder deal. So it hasn't been just one thing. And you wonder how much, developmental he's missed in what would be a critical offseason for him.
Charlie, if they had won by, just won the game, we wouldn't be looking at Lagway's passing numbers that he's really that far behind. Threw for 222. Touchdown interception, 6.7 an attempt. They're way worse numbers in college.
Well, I was responding to the rushing totals. Are they hesitant to run him? Is he a little bit gun shy? I don't know. I didn't watch it that close.
I don't know how many of the 6 rushing attempts were drop back originally. How many are design runs there? Maybe half?
I think the Lagway experience is a little bit misguided. So before he was a starter, he ran a lot. He would come in those packages. When he became the starter, that started against LSU, right, when he was pretty much the starter the rest of the way. At that point, he has not gained more than 10 yards rushing on the ground in a game. Now, of course, that includes sacks, which goes backwards. But he was a rusher before he got the starting job. When he got the starting job, he really didn't run as much.
So that was his... he was a running specialist before he got the starting job, but now but those attempts have gone down. Still, I'm in a game. I might have to, use his legs.
And he's a big
old
kid.
Guy. Yeah.
He's almost 250 pounds.
Well, he's not removed, but you go back to that bowl game, against a depleted Tulane team, nobody's putting a whole lot, but he was awful throwing the ball. Really, really bad and really ugly. 2 of the worst interceptions I've seen, and he needed that time in the offseason to develop more as a passer. So even though he threw for 222, which is South Florida's got, I watched the whole game. Those weren't easy yards. South Florida's roster is improved. Nobody in the country has 2 ranked wins right now but South Florida. So, they're improved. But they could be better. They should be better if he didn't miss as much time as he did.
Now, what kind of effort are you going to get out of Florida this
a
Saturday?
Desperate effort.
That's what I think,
sure.
too. That's what I think,
sure.
too. And so it makes it just that much harder on you if you're LSU, because you've got a wounded team, a team whose coach is in peril. You just got... This is an embarrassing loss for them. This is to an in-state school. It's not just an unranked school. It's an in-state school. So I think you're going to get
It's the last time they lost to an in-state school at home, or
you mean besides Miami or Florida State?
Yeah, the directional.
Well, didn't they go to Central Florida last? No, that was Alabama.
They lost to Central Florida in a bowl game.
Okay,
about 3 or 4 years ago.
This one's going to be hard to get over for them. The Spitter, we're going to see what they do with him today. My hope is that he is suspended. I got asked yesterday if the league would step in here.
The league has to, because it's not an NCAA deal.
The league. The league really tries very hard not to step in situations. They would much prefer the schools do it, and we've seen, with way more egregious incidents than this. Jeffrey Simmons at Mississippi State comes to mind. The league does not want to play the heavy because, and no other athletic director is going to push for this because they don't want to mess it in their business. So I think probably you'll see the league maybe privately lean on Florida a little bit to do something about this, but I don't know that for sure. We'll see. Later on today, but that was one of the big shockers of week number 2.
Gotta stop, man.
Come on, that's twice in a week. Two separate incidents, one pro and one college.
We're not going to be naive and that things in a pile don't happen, but, with all the replay, you're not in a pile. So
Florida lost to UCF in 2021 in the Gasparilla Bowl. Their worst loss, in memory at least, would be Georgia Southern back in 2013. Not an in-state school. But
Billy Napier's record at Florida with the 2 games this year, 20-20 overall, 10-14 in the SEC.
Sun Belt Billy coming back to Louisiana.
That's a disaster for a Florida coach, wouldn't you say? That record. I mean, the circumstances, of course, but that's a disaster. You're expecting to do more than that.
Where they were airing these flowery pieces, these team profiles, or in the summer on SEC Network, they showed some of the players celebrating, the basketball players celebrating their natty, and they said, our players are talking too. Why not us? Why not us?
That's why.
Yeah.
Remember, by the way, Lagway saved his job, really. I mean, let's be honest.
I went back and looked at those games. Lagway played well, but, man, go look at some of the key plays that were made down the stretch to them to win those games. The defense made just as many as Lagway.
But Lagway returning was one of the reasons they wanted to bring him back. They didn't want to lose Lagway. And it's
transferring was a big
worth noting
deal.
that Florida's reportedly ahead for Elijah Haven, 2027 class out of Dunham. That might shake some things up if they lose their coach.
Well, the new coach might have a shot at him, whoever that is.
Don't forget our friends over at K&M Automotive, the only place I take my vehicle. He's on Segan Lane, 8445 Segan Lane, just off of Perkins, right across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery. My buddy Jason Payne. You've heard those horror stories of going in, trying to get your car worked on, and, man, you just get rung up. Wait, you paid what? For what? Not going to happen with Jason. He's going to try and explore all repair options before we get into the replace stuff. AC service, transmission, electrical, tires, check engine light comes on. Bring it on in. We'll do it. We'll handle it for you. He might be busy at that time. If he is, he'll schedule you a more convenient time to return. But regardless, go by and check out my buddy Jason Payne at K&M Automotive for a fair shake on your auto maintenance. 8445 Segan Lane across Perkins Road. Across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery.
Live at the Walk-Ons in Brewley, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Brewley on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
We're also brought to you by the Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store. You're getting ready for tailgating. We got tailgating this past weekend. If you didn't make it, you're going out this weekend. Get your supplies at the Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store. You can go online, ThibodeauStore.com, make your order, and same-day pickup. If you end up time gets away from you a little bit later in the week, you can pick up your gear. Some of this stuff is available for delivery. So your pots, your accessories, your grills, your griddles, man. Look, Jimmy, you made your trip down right before the season started, but still plenty of supplies available if you're going tailgating this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, you can go on the website and do that and find some things that you like or you need. But I also would suggest, taking a trip down there and talking with they're really knowledgeable. You ask them about different things. You just won't believe. There's so much stuff. There's so many options, and just a little bit of everything. So you doing outdoor cooking, and man, look, when we get a morning like this, that gets a little extra incentive and the itch to get out there and do some tailgate cooking or do some of the the outdoor cooking at your house if you're just doing watch parties. So no, highly suggest. I've done it, man, and it's tons of stuff. It is an absolute must trip. It's a must trip to go to the Thibodeau Store or the Pierre Part Store. And if they don't have it in stock, they even have more things that they can get shipped to your that they can find the inventory on to get shipped to your place as well. So it's all at the Thibodeau Store and the Pierre Part Store.
900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, Highway 70 in Pierre Part, and TheThibodeauStore.com. There was a wonder, of course, if Clemson was going to have a hangover from the defeat against LSU in week number 1. That got answered very, very quickly. Troy took the opening kickoff and went 75 yards in less than 3 minutes and had Clemson in a 7-0 hole early. That hole got all the way to 16-3 at the half. Clemson had what they thought was a touchdown late in the second quarter, and they ruled it correctly, that the receiver's knee was down, and they ended up settling for a field goal. However, in the second half, Clemson came out and really dominated the third quarter. They got a touchdown, they got a pick, they got a touchdown on one play, they got another pick, they got a field goal, and they had the lead by the end of the third quarter. They tacked a touchdown in the fourth quarter and won this thing 27-16. The yardstick was very, very equal. 15 yards difference between the two. There were a lot of turnovers in this game, 3 for Troy and 2 for Clemson. But, Jimmy, again, do we talk about this as a hangover, that Clemson just needed a half to get themselves back together? Troy, what was the stat, Max? They trailed Nicholls State at one point last week.
Yeah. Week one, Nicholls
they finished
was
off with
leading.
a 21-0. I think it was 21-0 fourth quarter.
Maybe 28.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So if you're asking, is Troy one of the best mid majors this season, or the group of 6? Not in week one, they weren't. So, what do you think of Clemson's relative lack of or relative strength now? Number 4 national ranking to open the season. You lost.
I don't care about that number 4 ranking. That's nothing to do with that's over what's returned.
You've seen them play 2 games,
and they don't have. They still didn't think they had a great running game. Okay, and teams that return all 5 offensive linemen should usually have a better running game. They don't, and so they're kind of a little bit one dimensional. And they're going to rely on Klubnik, to provide some of that rushing game. But 100%, you get a carryover effect from a big disappointing loss and a big time matchup at home, and not just that they lost the game, but they were kind of whooped as well. But then Dabo kind of woke them up in the second half. You saw a completely different team and a team that responded. One thing that he has been able to do at Clemson when they lose some games early is kind of keep them going, even whether they're out of contention for the ACC championship game, or think they're out of contention for ACC and playoff, like last year when they needed Syracuse to upset Miami to open the door for them. And he's been able to still win 8, 9, 10 games a year. This was a spot where he had a 15-minute halftime to try and get 20-minute halftime to get it done, and he did. It was a completely different team. To your point, Charlotte, I mean, Georgia Tech's a good team. They play them on campus in Atlanta. This is their toughest road game of the year. I think they go to Dallas as well. So, I mean, Georgia Tech looks like they're better than SMU right now. So, they go to Chapel Hill. That doesn't look tough. So this is it's a sandwich spot for them too. After LSU, before their trip to Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So did what they had to do, sloppy, but I'm not ready to give up on them. But I'm also, there's a little bit of it that they just might not be that good. But we saw them last year be good enough for this league, and maybe their preseason ranking was based on that prediction because their schedule was not super tough.
Yeah. So they did something in regard to the running game in the second half of this thing that caught my attention. They went to a senior back named Adam Randall. He's a 4-year player, all 4 years at Clemson. That's rarer these days. 9 career carries coming into this game. He carried 21 times, most of them in the second half, and he averaged over 5 yards a carry. He's been a third down back for them for 3 years. He's got over 50 career catches, but he doesn't look like a third down back. He's not one of these scat backs. He's 230 pounds. He's a real big physical kid. He just happens to have good hands. They started handing him the ball in the second half, and they got the run game going. That's not where I expected it to come from, but that's where it was.
So Klubnik, a couple sacks, and they have 5 rushes for -4 yards, okay? But nobody else had more than 2 carries.
Besides, except for Randy. Yeah,
so
they handed the ball to him in the second half.
How much did he run it against LSU?
He had 4 carries.
5 carries for 16
5,
yards.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 9 career carries
Okay.
coming in this game. So this was a very big departure from what he usually does for them. Like I said, he's basically been a third down back.
Redshirt senior in-state kid from Myrtle Beach. Yeah. So I'll be
Maybe he's their Josh Williams. Josh Williams wasn't expected to carry a load and really did.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, you mean we don't have maybe the back that we're used to in Etienne or and some of them other guys, but Spiller, but he might be the best we have. And then maybe some true freshmen, some recruits didn't pan out. I know they're talking about some high star guys, whatever. No, but this might be your best back to try and improve the biggest weakness of your team. I'm not ready to give up on them yet. But they're at a spot. They got to play better against Georgia Tech.
You wanted to sell me your Penn State playoff tickets this weekend. I offered to give you my Clemson ones because that was when they were down 16-3. But I'm going to go ahead and hold on to them. I think that but don't go lose. If they go lose to Georgia Tech, my opinion may completely change. I'm very, very interested in that game. In Stark Vegas on Saturday night, Arizona State and Mississippi State played one of the more entertaining games of the weekend. State got up 17-0. Arizona State put 20 straight on the board. And then Blake Shapen and Mississippi State went the length of the field in just over a minute to put the winning points on the board. It was a real emotional night, it felt like. They tore the goalpost down. Jimmy, we touched on this yesterday. Since Mike Leach's passing. He's the first coach to pass. In 40 years on the job, it's been a really, really tough go for them. The emotions, I thought, came out. I don't know if it was all due to, the whole deal with Leach or whatever, but they showed some heart the other night. I mean, to have Arizona State come all the way back on you and then put that drive together to win it.
So the 2 comebacks were, one that came, Mississippi State managed to, hit that last throw and beat them, after they gave up the lead. But it was this game with Arizona State scoring all those points, 20 unanswered, and it was Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech, when they went 34-0 in the second half and overcame a double-digit halftime deficit, it was a lot of Diego Pavia. And so, well, of course, it's going to be Sam Levitt, right? A lot of it.
You would have thought.
It's 82 yards.
Yeah, that was the most shocking thing. I didn't see a lot of this game, but I saw the box go, wait a minute, that doesn't.
82 yards. Scattered was going. No, they had 2 separate 100-yard rushers in this one, Brown and Udo. That's what it was. Levitt was awful and stayed awful, and he didn't help bring them back to take the lead eventually. And what does it say for the the SEC haters, huh? Mississippi State still think they're the worst team? And who are you going to put worse? Kentucky looked good.
Kentucky was very competitive on
Kentucky was game on Saturday, man. Kentucky gave Ole Miss all they could handle.
Missouri beat Kansas. Who's the worst team in the league right now?
Florida? I mean, they lost to South Florida.
Well, South Florida's the only team in the country with 2 ranked wins. So,
preseason ranked wins, essentially.
Well, the time they played them.
I know, but,
Nobody looks like absolute roadkill.
Nobody has that, though. Nobody.
I'm with you. I'm just saying, we're going off Florida was ranked. Are they
No, their schedule doesn't allow them to be ranked, okay, at the end of the year, okay?
Are they a top 25 team?
Florida, probably not, but I'm not ready to give up on Florida, being able – do they look worse this year than they did last year? And that was a team that beat Ole Miss and LSU and also could have beaten Georgia if he doesn't get hurt. I don't think they look any worse than they did last year. I'm not ready to give up on Florida. I mean, South Florida is – I know this. I saw South Florida push around Boise State. And I saw South Florida go toe-to-toe with them in a 50-50 game. They just happened to pull it out. But it wasn't – this game was in the balance the whole time. So South Florida is much improved. I think Mississippi State still might be – but they beat your champion with everybody back minus 1 player.
Right. And
everybody back.
Nobody looks like I said, absolute roadkill.
The bottom may be tougher.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Kentucky lost, but Toledo first game. Toledo's going to win a lot of games this year, by the way. It's in the map, but Kentucky they had a little bit more. little bit more explosive elements to their offense, Charlie. They gained some yardage. It was not your typical stuck in the mud Stoops type of stuff.
Yeah.
They were.
And Calzada got hurt late in the game, or they might have had a chance even to.
Well, Kiffin rolled Kiffin took a chance on fourth down and it wasn't just fourth down, hurry up and run that quick speed play, but he put it in a struggling quarterback's hands at that time, and he made the throw. They missed the tackle, and game was completely different after that point. But they were down double digits and really on the ropes there.
Simmons, when he threw the 2 first quarter interceptions, at that point he had 4 interceptions in 5 quarters of football, and so you have to make that decision.
Yeah, he was playing poorly.
Yeah, really did.
We'll find out what Arkansas is in the next few weeks too. They haven't played anybody yet.
So yeah, I mean
they've had 2 layups.
This is the blue book. I mean, who is going to be at the end of the year the worst team in the league?
Can I think about it?
Yeah.
Okay. During the break, I'm gonna think about that.
I still think State has a chance. I think Arizona State came in there pretty damn overconfident the way they got bum rushed.
Scatterboo was a big loss for them.
I
know they brought back everybody else, but that was a lot of their offense.
That is, but they had 2 guys rush for 100 yards. So the running game was non-existent. You got it. All of us like. This was completely out of nowhere.
82 yards for Levitt. That's
82 yards and 2 interceptions against not a tougher place to play. There's no bigger culture shock than going from Scottsdale to Starkville. So, but you've been to Scottsdale, Max.
Yeah, well, Sam Levitt's from the mean streets of Westland, Oregon. So he should be used to Starkville.
Yeah, something like that. So don't forget our friends over at Workbox and Workbox Services for all of your movable storage needs. My buddy Martin Padial has been over at Workbox for quite some time, but now they're bigger and better than ever. So got our buddy Martin Jr. in there, Hannah's in there, Brandy, Chris Brooks, and with now our second office of Workbox allows us to extend our coverage all the way down the Gulf Coast to New Orleans, through Baton Rouge, all the way to Lake Charles. So going that I-10 corridor, surfacing all of these areas and everywhere in between. Movable storage needs, shipping containers that come in custom storage containers, all different sizes with 8x8, 8x10, 8x20, and 8x40 feet. And we can customize them to your liking, your needs, no matter what they are. Custom lunchrooms, welders and plumbers. We can customize a work site. Safety storage near the plant. You need that? No problem. You need one air conditioned, shelving, lighting, wood materials, metal materials, whatever it is, we can do it exactly to what you want or what you need. Call my friends at Workbox 343-4886 or workboxllc.com.
Live at the Walk-Ons in Bruley, live at Lunch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Bruley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We know better than to do comparative scores. We had our hands slapped enough times way back when that we ditched that a long time ago. But I can't help but look at Vanderbilt playing South Carolina this weekend and look at what both of them did against Virginia Tech. In the second half, Virginia Tech ended up with less than 20 yards of total offense and took a 20-10 lead into the break and ended up losing it 44-20. Jimmy, that's one of the biggest, second half ass whippings that you have seen.
No,
man.
For Virginia Tech fans, it's going to be tough to. This is the most challenged SEC program in the Pavi or not, to come into your place, Lane Stadium, and it's almost to the point like, all right, enter Sandman, that's done. Well, let's go.
Yeah, they were in the game with South Carolina. It's a 2-point game going to the fourth quarter with South Carolina, who's supposed to be good. That's a top 15 team on paper, at least.
South Carolina.
Yeah, and
it could have won.
You get a couple of plays there late that South Carolina makes, and they end up winning the game by 13. But nothing like this. It's like everything was fine for 6 quarters. Okay, you lost a tough game, neutral site to what we think is a pretty good South Carolina team. Maybe they're not. I don't know. And you're rolling with a 10-point lead against Vanderbilt, and you figure, okay, you're gonna win this game. It's going 10-point win, 14-point win, something like that, and they just get steamrolled. in the second half. Less than 20 yards of total offense, and Vanderbilt scored a touchdown every time they had the football until they kneeled it out. Wow.
All right, Charlie. Which game is LSU more likely to lose? The home game to South Carolina or the road game to Vanderbilt?
The road game to Vanderbilt. I don't think that they're going to lose in Tiger Stadium this year, period.
Road game to Vanderbilt or who?
Home game against South Carolina.
I don't think South Carolina's that good. I don't think South Carolina's any better than. And they're playing at South Carolina. There's a 6-point spread.
LSU or Vanderbilt?
South Carolina, Vandy this week.
South Carolina is at South Carolina this week.
6-point spread.
Yeah, 6, 5.5, 6.
Okay, so I mean the odds makers don't think it's the neutral. They're that much different either. So
Right.
yeah, home and away. I mean, South Carolina is not as good as they were last year. I just don't see it.
Lost a lot defensively.
And then Sellers is up there for the Heisman odds. Where's Pavia? They just played the same defense the last 2 weeks. Huh? I mean, there was no comparison. With the who had better success, and on the road as opposed to on a neutral site.
Pavia doing it again with the arm and with the legs. He had 2 touchdown passes. He ran for 61 yards, and wow, that was a steamroller in the second half. All right, we're going to send you to the Brian Kelly press conference. We are at Walk-Ons in Brewley. Jimmy, you said they were going to open up the windows here the next time. They opened them up right now. It's so nice. Come out here on the front area of Walk-Ons and enjoy.
Officially football season.
Yeah, come on over here and get a good meal.
Saints
Watch the
close.
game. Lots of
World
beer.
victory.
Brian Kelly
victory.
press conference, and we're back on the other side. Live at lunch.
Walk-Ons in Brewley on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Walk-Ons in Brewley, where we got the windows open.
It's open air, baby.
It's fantastic.
Yes, it's good.
Enjoying this one. So Brian Kelly, if I had to use one word for that press conference, I would say Coach Kelly is loose. I mean, he walked in like
when has he not been?
You're right. This year,
No. Come on, man. This guy.
Maybe at the beginning when he got here, but just today, he walks in and he's talking like a guy who I play a lot of cards in my life. Okay, he acts like a guy that knows he's got a good hand. Okay, and we talked about the contract and all that stuff. I agree with all that stuff.
To that point, okay,
he's just hey, he's telling jokes. He's as opposed to Saturday. When was he not lose after the game? Saturday night.
We have both done tons of post game, and that is the beauty and also the aggravation of its immediate emotional reaction. You capture the emotion, and people are just one positive or negative, more extreme, and not as guarded. But that's that's all that was. That's all. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
You wake up the next day. I went back and looked at it. It's not that bad. There were some positive things, but right after the game, look, this is why I've had a job the last 25 years on Eagle. Okay, everybody comes out of the stadium and things went like they did the other night. Pissed off. I mean, just forget that they won. Forget that the defense was great. Pissed off. Okay. You come back the next day, you look at it again. Sometimes you rationalize, sometimes not, and sometimes you go, you know what? I might have overreacted. That's what he opened with today. He said, maybe we shouldn't do these things right after the game. Maybe we should do them on Monday. Okay. Well, if he doesn't do a post-game press conference, I'm not doing a post-game show. Okay. That's my deal. But I understood what he meant. I understood exactly what he meant. It's just what you're saying, Jimmy. The emotions of it can fade after 24, 48 hours, and you come back and go, you know what? Everything's going to be all right now.
He's starting to acclimate to SEC country. And because it's the beauty and the also just screwed up. Man, whether it's Twitter, whether it's a post game, a call-in show, or around town. I mean, man, when you're that emotionally invested, you're really not rationalizing a whole lot. SEC fans that's all over the place, but that's the beauty. But they care so damn much, they can't see straight half the time.
You can't turn it on and off. you're emotionally invested. So loose is what he
But do
came
you agree
in today.
with him that it wasn't as bad?
It was all on one side of the ball. The defensive intensity, the defensive execution was fine. Okay, not better than fine, exceptional.
He basically said we pulled our starters, and that's when they got on the board.
Yeah, it was an exceptional performance, regardless of the opponent on the defensive side, and the special teams were fine. Offensively, you lost. I'm sorry, next man up, and he's got experience. I'm sorry. The Moore is better than Chester. Okay, and when he goes out, you feel it. Now, is that an excuse that everything goes off? No, but you got to factor that in. You got to factor in, for whatever reason, your quarterback was off his game Saturday. His accuracy was not what it usually is, so you got to play that in. And you lost Greenlay, but believe me, the inconsistency had been established way before Trey'Dez Green went out of the game. So you go back and try to fix some of that stuff. I maintain that a lot of the plays that didn't work, outside of Nussmeier's incompletions where he was just off, is mostly about missed assignments and guys that get beat up front. The right tackle, Weston Davis, got beat a number of times. You could see it before we even go do film study. He had a bad game. There are times on the other side where they're missing the combo blocks. The best two offensive linemen so far this year, again, guys who were coached somewhere else, Moore and Thompson, have been the best two. Those other guys are still ramping up. They're puppies. They haven't played. Adams, we like Adams. He's a real talent. He started 5 games. Not even 5 games. I think it's 3 games. Davis has started now 2 games. Mubenga started 7 games. Those other 2 guys have started for 2 years. It's a big difference, and I think that's again where most of their problems in the run game lie, is up front. Those guys are going to, you hope, they're going to give it. They're talented guys. They're highly recruited. They have done the job at times.
So the short of your answer is on one side of the ball.
Yeah.
Max?
I'm somewhere in between his statements, between Saturday and Monday. Look, to me, I wanted to see the backup quarterbacks. I wanted to see Van Buren. They never came out. Against La Tech, you should be seeing the backup quarterback at some point, and you didn't. Now, he said that there was never in doubt. The game was never in doubt. Well, if it wasn't in doubt, then you would have probably had the backups in. And I would also point out that La Tech punted 3 times in opposing territory. They didn't attempt an onside kick.
Oh, 3 times. I thought you said inside the 20.
In opposing territory.
Max, you got to get used to it, dude.
I'm just saying, La Tech was allowing that game to not be within reach a little bit in terms of their decision making. I mean, not even attempting an onside kick with 4 minutes to go, down 2 possessions. Like,
it's a rent to win.
Okay, but
they're taking their check. They've got 10 more games on their schedule. Or do you want to just, you don't want to come out of this game having 6 or 7 guys banged up because you're an inferior roster?
Point blank, I wanted to see the backup quarterback.
I understand,
and you did.
So
that is a bit of.
If you're not going to get the backup quarterback against Louisiana Tech, we're going to go get him in. No, that's fair, because anybody can go down. I mean, it is football. And so, no, and that used to be the deal. I mean, you got to get you back up in there, get some reps in case, and then for next year, too. And also evaluate what you have. So, no, but he also, and I'm kind of glad. I'm sorry. I'm kind of glad Tiger Stadium isn't Tiger Death Valley for Louisiana Tech. I'm glad, because I want real games scheduled. And I'm glad there's patches of empty seats in Happy Valley on Saturday against FIU, right in the middle of this juggernaut non-conference schedule of Nevada, FIU, and Villanova. Jay Wright bringing his best 5 over there. I mean, it's just, and he's had it. I mean, it takes an opponent at night. I mean, Max, you said that. Yeah, great feeling, great vibe. Tailgating should be. First win, great win. Best win in college football. Got a chance. But once you get in there and it's gone, I mean, when you schedule these games, you're going to see crap that aggravates you. You're not going to get Tiger Stadium on its best, and you get what you get. Get in, get out, give him that check. But he's trying to coach. It's still Florida, still at night. Fans know you lost to him last time. Okay, they'll be ready to go on Saturday night. But I mean. He's even noticing it isn't on all the time.
Yeah, and We've known that for a year, and it's not the only stadium. I mean, you think Texas was on for
When
San Jose State?
When has he had to plead to the fans that we need you? I mean, this ain't Will Wade trying to stroke up the basketball days.
He did it. He didn't need to. They'll be there. For Florida, they'll be there.
But when has he done it before?
I'm sure he said something like that before
like,
the
yeah,
game. Before I don't really remember, but they'll be there.
You
for
can't
Florida.
remember it.
But yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
well, he's done it, but you just can't remember it, huh? Okay.
when Alabama came here in 22, he said it. Hey,
You don't have
we
to
need
tell
you.
him. You don't have
Come
to.
on, it's
I
they're
mean-
SEC games. They'll be there for those, especially name SEC teams. I mean, they go for Alabama and Florida and Auburn and Georgia. They'll be there for those games. The injury report. All right, so on Braylon Moore, he said it's a high ankle sprain. He's calling him day to day. He's calling him questionable.
When is
he
a high ankle sprain day to day?
Well,
They
that's-
linger forever.
So that's what I'm getting to. He did rule out the tightrope surgery, though. So if they're not considering that, maybe it's not quite as bad. I would be shocked if he plays this week. If it's a true high ankle sprain, that's multiple weeks. You got 3 games left, and then you got a bye week. I don't know if he's going to be out that long, but that was kind of my first thought. Kelly seems to be a lot more optimistic than that. I hope he's right. For Tre'Davious Green, it's a sprained MCL, which is what I think you said in the first thing. They're calling him questionable. They'll know more at the end of the week. I'd be shocked if he played. Also, that's just me. Kelly sounds more optimistic. Hopefully he's right, but it does bring up an interesting point with Tre'Davious Green being out.
No, he's right. The MRIs had to reveal it's MCL sprain.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you said he's right. You talk
No, about him
he's
playing
healthy.
this. Yeah, that he's
healthy.
Yeah, that he's going to play sooner rather than later. I think for this week it's kind of optimistic, but I'm not there, and Kelly is. It does bring up the interesting part about Donovan Green, who came in the transfer portal, known as a blocking tight end. This kid was from Texas at Texas A&M, primarily a blocking tight end. He's 6'4", he's 250 pounds. He's not the receiving threat, obviously, that Sharp and Tre'Davious Green are, but he's he's much more physical blocker, and I wonder if that might not provide a little spark to the running game. You know, some of these combo blocks on the edge with the tackles. Frankly, they could use a little more physicality out there. So we're going to get a chance to see. He's a kid that, he's behind the other two, so he's not going to get a chance to play as much if they're healthy. If Tre'Davious Green is out, you're going to see more Donovan Green. Will that help the run game? I don't know. Maybe. What else do we have in here? They said they had to have a conversation about Harlem Berry, so I would consider that positive that he is making progress. Ramp him up a little bit more. Hopefully, that'll be the case. And after that, it was mostly about fundamentals and focus, and all those things that we talk about when you don't play as well as you want to play. So, a loose, excited coach with an SEC opponent coming in here a little bit wounded this weekend. That's kind of where we are. Anything else you heard, Jimmy, that you wanted to?
Yeah, no. It's just, he's candid, man. He's relaxed. He's funny, man. He's funny. I mean, I don't know, Charlie. If you think he's got a loaded hand and things like that. I mean, that's usually. How many times have you heard? There's a reason. You get to. Well, I got to look at the film. Well, we got to look at the film, and I'll be able to give you a better answer. And I mean, you're managing so much on the sidelines. He can't evaluate so much at a high, with the perspective. I mean, you got an idea who's competing and not, but I don't. He said before the season he thought they were good.
Yeah.
Okay, and we think they were good. I mean, by whose account is this not his best roster here? No, I mean everybody's account.
Nobody doesn't think that it's not.
It's the beauty of college football too, man. There's never a perfect roster. There's never a perfect game.
No.
Not every position scheduled. But how close can you get to it? How buttoned up can you get? And his teams, no matter where he's been, that's not been the issue. He's at least got, some weapons to deal with and compete in this league, which he really didn't.
This is my read. that he knows he's got a good team. He knows he's got a good hand. He doesn't have an unbeatable team. He doesn't have an unbeatable hand. And somewhere, between the end of last season and the start of this one, he's just like, you know what? I'm a lot closer to the end of my career than the beginning, and I've got a shot to go win this thing. I'm going to have some fun along the way. I'm going to be me. If I piss some people off in the meantime, I don't care. I'm not coaching for my job. I'm coaching for a championship. So I'm going to go do this my way. I'm going to have fun doing it. I'm going to give it my best shot. If we get it, great. I'll put the ring on my finger and I'll ride off into the sunset whenever I decide to hang up my whistle. And if not, it's still been a damn good run. And I died with my boots on. I went in there and I did it the way I wanted to do it. That's what I see. I don't know.
I think the guys. You thought he was like this at Notre Dame?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. I think
because he was coaching for his job at times there, and he didn't have this contract in front of him, and it was
there aren't many who are they have this much job security,
right?
In college football at this stage of his career,
And was he ever this close of a favorite to winning a national championship? I mean, even the year they made it to the finals. I guess you'd have to give them in a one-game set.
No, they had no shot.
They were not going to win that game.
And if it was in Alabama, it was going to be somebody else, like it went in LSU that year.
If LSU had beaten Alabama, that was the year.
2012.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the year T.J. Yeldon.
Yeah. Okay. But
pass,
LSU would have beat them close to as bad as that.
If Georgia would have gotten into the game, if Georgia beat Alabama in the SEC championship.
Oh, that was the one that came. They were stopped inside the 10?
It was one of them. I forget which one. But Georgia would have beaten them. Georgia would have beaten them, too. I don't remember exactly. Georgia and Alabama played enough times. I don't remember which one that was. But, yeah, they would have won that game. Now, granted, he's got to win 4 playoff games. But
no, this team has more of a shot than a Notre Dame team.
They do.
Now, I mean, well, they're going to get to the finals. Odds are against that. I mean, just saying, but they have a chance to win it, and that Notre Dame team.
You have enough to operate with. We're brought to you by the Morris Insurance Group. Big boy toys, some of those tough to insure items. Your duck camps, your fishing camps, things that are in coastal areas. You can get flood insurance through the Morris Insurance Group. Your boats, your trailers, your RVs. A lot of these items, your boats, boat insurance. If you got a difficult time getting good quotes on them, difficult time getting prices that you like, check out my man Buzzy Heidel and the Morris Insurance Group. Also for your auto, your homeowners, and your commercial insurance. You can get a quote at morris-ig.com or you can give them a call at 201-0007, 225-201-0007. Ask for Buzzy and see what he's got to say. Buzzy Heidel and the Morris Insurance Group.
There you go. Yes, glad to have them aboard. It was at the 5-yard line where the Georgia drive ended on the little pass in the flat. It was Aaron Murray, 32-28.
Yeah, they played Alabama that close. They would have beaten Notre Dame.
Georgia. Florida was 7-1 that year. They'd have beaten.
I was an Urban Meyer team. Yeah, they probably would have as well.
At least 4 teams that would have waxed.
And LSU had Alabama beat. Save one play in Tiger Stadium. So.
That was one where it was popping.
I don't know if LSU would have beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. Would have probably been what and what. But either one of those teams would have beaten Notre Dame, in my opinion. We'll take our final time out, come back and wrap things up here. We are at Walk-Ons in Bruley, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Walk-Ons in Bruley on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Let me make a correction on something that I said. This is my mistake. I'm listening to the press conference over here, and I just didn't hear it correctly. Kelly said about Braylon Moore, we didn't get the true sense that it is a true high ankle sprain. What I heard was high ankle sprain, but we don't need the tightrope procedure that would keep him out for 4 weeks. So he said, let me get this exactly right. We didn't get the true sense that we have a high ankle sprain with Braylon. He's going to be out, and that he would have to have the tightrope procedure and be out for 4 weeks. He's going to be day to day. So the injury is not a true high ankle sprain, and then there's a big difference. So that's my mistake.
Okay,
I apologize.
that is,
It's a big difference between a turned ankle and a true high ankle sprain, which will keep you out a month, whether you have the tightrope surgery or not. So that's a big deal. My mistake. I didn't hear it properly. I want to make that correction.
Yeah, Clark, it's your first mistake.
Throw something at him. Yeah,
Good job, Charlie.
Yeah, just make sure it's right. Hey, you want to make it up to me for your 1-3 yesterday? Tell me who's going to win the game tonight.
Bears. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm in position to win. Got leads left and right. Couldn't finish them off. So,
Yeah, there was a lot of that going around.
Yeah, it was good day for football Friday. Not so much for football Sunday. So, but we did it. It was fun, but it was it was just some very, very close 50-50 type of covers yesterday. I mean,
Steelers and Jets.
Steelers and Jets fell under the number. Jets were winning a big part of that game. So catching 3. The crazy thing is the noon and 3 games were 1-11 under. If you could pick one, if you're survivor, which one's not going to score the most points? It'd have been Jets Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Justin Fields quarterback in the Jets and Aaron Rodgers.
Where did Daniel Jones come from? What Miami?
Oh, I tell you what, Miami looks so bad.
Okay, it's on the
yesterday.
road, but is it January in a blizzard? What's up with them? Tua?
They were bad on both sides. The defense was awful. Tua was awful.
That was unreal. How bad that worst performance as a team. I mean,
under that coach, yeah.
Well, under any coach. I mean, what we saw this weekend in the NFL.
Oh, of all the teams,
they were way worse than the Saints.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
way worse than the Saints.
Saints had a chance to.
Tua was worse than Rattler.
I thought Tua was the worst quarterback in the league yesterday. Bo Nix was close.
Oh, I thought
Bo Nix was close.
I'd say Bo Nix because they had a running game. They have a defense. They're going again. I mean, there's just a lot of pieces. He's got a good coach. What's it? Minus yesterday.
What was he thinking throwing that lob up on fourth?
So
down?
You're up 8.
Yeah.
You're up 8. Fourth and what was it? 3 or 4?
I thought 5 maybe.
Fourth and
5.
So you got about a 55-yard field goal.
Fourth and 7.
Fourth and 7.
I remember.
55-yard field goal. You give them the ball. I mean, it's a minute to go. So is the rookie quarterback who's not doing a whole lot. All right,
No.
Is he going to go 90 yards for
I'd sure leave that up to
for
my
a score
defense. That's a good
and a
defense.
2-point conversion?
Yeah.
Or so I don't know about it's here's a great example. Your analytics and your decision in managing the game is completely different because of those game flows. The Denver Titans game should not be on the same analytics chart as Baltimore Buffalo.
No.
Not in any world. Not in any world.
I agree.
And we run with everybody over here at Walk-Ons in Bruley, man. We got the NFL Sunday ticket. We're equipped to watch all the games. Man, they can open up the garage doors and enjoy the great weather this time of the year. So tell them you heard it right here, 104.5 ESPN.
Bruley home opener Friday night. Want to know after a rivalry win. Hurricane Classic.
Panthers?
42-6.
Cats!
Tomorrow we're at Mike Anderson's from Max and Jimmy. Jordan back in the studio. I'm Charles Henniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.